I was so fascinated by it because it was like so psychological. Like the way that my friend was being taught, it was like take your biggest flaw or insecurity in that and elevate that. And for a lot of people, that's how they find their clown. Like the original character design I had for Cabbage was like just a parody of me as a 17-year-old. And like people would call me Cabbage because it was my Instagram username, and at my college people would call each other by their Instagram username, and mine was Teen Cabbage. And so people around school would call me Cabbage. I hadn't really performed it on stage, and it was a crazy night.
In what way?
Well, 2 people are supposed to get through, and they only put me through. And I performed at the Clapham Grand. That was the final of the competition. So I performed for less than 100 people in the heat. And then my second Cabbage gig was 700 people.
That was only just second gig?
Yeah.
It's variety.
Well, hello and good morning. I am Adam Sternberg, and this is the Variety Show podcast. Now, today's guest is giving it sad, is giving it ugly, is giving it soggy, sock on your foot. And you must excuse me if I don't quite get the intonation here, or even the rhythms quite right. Please get up for Cabbage the Clown, a.k.a. Eliza Nelso. Welcome
Thank you so
to
much.
the podcast. And may I say how amazing you look.
Thank you so much. I'm not even, I just rolled out of bed.
So did you wear this in bed?
Yeah. Like I didn't even put makeup on today.
This is your day-to-day look. You're joking.
Mascara, powder. This is in my pajamas, so I just didn't have time. I was like,
so if
that's crazy.
If you actually made up, how much more would that be then?
Sometimes I wear blush. Sometimes there was one time I put glitter on. But I like to wear natural makeup typically, so I don't really wear.
Does it change, or is it always this look?
I feel like I change my look all the time, or constantly. Like sometimes I want to be a baby, and sometimes I want to be a man who is likes fish. Like it just so many different sides. So many. You ever wake up and you're like, pageant mom?
Me personally, no.
Yeah, you.
No, personally, no.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit dull, frankly. I suppose I only show one side of myself, which is this.
Right.
I suppose you're having the courage to show various sides of yourself.
Thanks so much.
I presume.
How did you get into this then?
Because I started writing musicals, which are shit. And
That's crazy. You're a musical theatre kid.
Well, I wouldn't say musical theatre kid.
Top 3 musicals now.
Actually, we've already changed dynamic here. This is great. Okay.
I need to know.
Top 3 musicals. Well, I'm a bit of a Sondheim person, so I would do, I don't know, Into the Woods, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Or one of those. Oklahoma,
right.
classic. Or actually, Guys and Dolls, actually.
Oh, I was in a production of Guys and Dolls.
Yeah, Guys and Dolls, because I saw the one at the bridge recently. So Guys and Dolls.
Nice.
And third, I don't know, it's difficult. I mean, I do like West Side Story, the original film.
Spanger. Can't beat it.
And I tell you what, I'm going to see for the second time, and I never see things twice, is Avenue Q.
Oh, yeah? Because you like into puppets. You didn't have a ventriloquist on.
Generally speaking, not. Generally speaking, not into
Okay,
puppet.
there we go.
Generally speaking, not.
Puppet hater.
No.
Awkward.
Neither in, not into. In fact, no, come to think of it, for years I wouldn't go and see Avenue Q because it had puppets in it.
Right.
That's true. But then I listened to music and I really liked the music.
You resonated.
I loved the music. So I thought, well, it can't be that bad. And then when I saw it, it was amazing. And
it's like you have to meet the right puppet. No, I've not seen it. I've always wanted to. But I similarly was like, gross puppets, like cringe. And then I saw like one incredible puppeteer, Lachlan Werner. And I laughed so much. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And then I was just like hooked on that. After that.
So it's interesting. The week after I saw Avenue Q, as a guest here, I had a ventriloquist.
Yes.
Max Fulham.
Yes.
Who also knew quite a few people in Avenue Q.
Yeah.
And that was
quite a big name in the puppetry scene.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you know this.
Yes, I do. And so that was quite an interesting conversation about puppets and about ventriloquism and about... Well, how hard ventriloquism is, because you have to, obviously, the not moving lips bit, but how you pretend that you haven't thought of the line that they apply, the dynamic. So that was
it's crazy. It's crazy what they do. No, you asked.
Where were you born?
I was born in Tameside Hospital. My mum actually works there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I was born there, and then I don't actually know where I went after that. I don't really remember the first few years. A little bit hazy.
Where were you living?
Manchester. Staley Vegas. Staley Vegas, anybody? Staley Bridge, you know it?
Yeah.
You know it. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a mega fan.
Well, not a mega fan, but I know it.
Name every street in
Yes,
Staley Vegas right now. So I lived in Staley Bridge for a while. Sometimes when your parents don't love each other anymore, they get divorced and you have to move. And that's what happened.
So where did you move to?
Spread across 2 properties. Hyde in Hyde and Stockport. And so I was living a double life. Those who know Manchester well know that it's 2 worlds apart.
How old were you at that point?
I'm really getting into it. How was I when my parents got divorced? Who's to say?
Were you in
6,
your
8,
okay.
6, 7,
But
4?
not in your teens.
4?
Quite young.
No. I remember at the time I was like, it didn't affect me at all. I was like going around the playground being like, yeah, like my parents are getting divorced. It's chill, whatever. No, it's fine. Like, yeah, they're moving separate houses. Like, I just like really took it on the chin. It was like a crazy thing.
And were either of your parents performers on any level?
No, they're not really. My auntie was a dance teacher, and that's how I got into any kind of performing, I think.
So, okay, let's go there then. How did you start performing at all?
Probably through doing my auntie's dance shows. Auntie Kathy.
And what type of shows were those?
Ballet, modern tap, bit of salsa. Really good. We have this DVD. The last big show we did was called Celebration, and it's recorded, and sometimes I watch that as a comfort DVD. It's just all of the different classes and groups performing on a stage doing different numbers, but I just love that stuff.
So she'd have pupils from very young to teenagers and everything in between.
Yeah, and there was like also a mature group as well. There was like the mums like did a salsa number in the Celebration DVD. It's kind of like a niche film. Like not many people have seen it. The Celebration, Norton School of Dance.
Costumes were involved, I presume?
Yeah, loads. My grandma made the costumes. My grandma was a seamstress.
Okay.
But she also was a dancer as a hobby.
Your grandmother, that is?
Yes.
A dancer and a seamstress.
She's the best. She died, unfortunately.
That's a
So
shame.
thanks for bringing that up, Adam.
You're welcome. Well,
but she's still with us. She's still with us. I love her so much.
She's inspiring you.
Oh yeah, she's the greatest.
So, because I noticed costuming forms a large part of what you do.
Yes.
So is that from your grandmother then?
I would say so. I would say I like first got interested in that kind of stuff. I was also really into films and I love costumes in films. But
your 3 favourite films?
My 3 favourite films.
If you were going to do our 3
Firstly, how dare you? Secondly, get out of town.
Oh,
3,
no,
I walk. You can't ever decide. I like Amelie a lot. I like, you know what? I'll shout out Moulin Rouge because that was one of the first films I saw that really inspired me. I watched it through the crack in the door. I used to sneak down out of bed. This was when my parents were together. I used to sneak down out of bed and watch the films they were watching through the crack in the living room door.
So that gave you a very narrow view of the film.
Yes. So I was just seeing like a little bit of Nicole Kidman. Who's to say who the other actor was? But I was like, the costumes in that film are obviously so amazing, and I was like, this is great. And then they made me go to bed and I was like crying. And then they said that I could watch it the next day, even though there's like sexual parts in that movie. Yes, terrible parents.
So that's 2.
Yeah. A third film. So I would say the film that I watched recently that I loved is Cecil B. Demented, which is it's a John Waters movie. It's a group of cinema purists who believe in indie movies and they infiltrate a Hollywood screening as cinema workers and they kidnap the lead star of the movie and force her to be in their B movie because they're against mainstream cinema.
Oh, I like that.
It's really just queer and the costumes.
When did that come out?
I think it was like in the 80s, maybe like the end of the 80s, like turning into 90s. But I would not be able to say. It's really good. I'd recommend it. I actually saw it in the cinema as well because my gorgeous, wonderful, incredible flatmate Felix Kai works at Curzon Mayfair and they get to do like staff screenings and stuff. And so I watched on the big screen, which was
amazing,
truly brilliant. So I did dance until I was like 11 and then I was accidentally in a musical.
Which one?
It wasn't Her Benny. At the plaza in Stockport. And then we saw an advert. This is going to be huge. We saw an advert for, under Her Benny, it was like, do you want to be in musicals for a company that I'm not going to mention the original name, but is now called MMY, Manchester Musical Youth. And we signed up to do Les Mis. I don't even know what that was. We like Wikipedia'd Les Mis and like read through the plot, and we were so confused. And we were like, and then Eponine comes in and is like, I'm poor now. Like, it just like, there was so much we didn't understand. And then after that, I was in the musical theatre kids, and they just, I want to use the word indoctrinated, you
Probably
know.
Right. Were you in Les Mis, Rob?
I was twice.
What as?
In the first Les Mis, I was a prostitute as well as chorus at 14 years old, obviously. We all are. That's how we do it. And then second time I did it, I was also a prostitute, also in the chorus, but I was also a barricade woman.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Huge for me. I died on the barricade. I was like a
well,
nurse.
Literally, or you put your lines?
No. Like I actually died many years ago, and this is just the spirit of me. No, I had like when all the characters die on the barricade, I also got to die on the barricade.
So what was your persona like then? Were you shy, or were you outgoing, or were you?
I think
alternative, or
I think when I was in the musical theatre group, I was quite outgoing, but at school I was a little bit more pulled back.
Okay.
I was really depressed.
So you did this show at 14, 15. You obviously were still at school. What were you doing at school?
Being depressed, studying my...
But you did... Were you academically, were you good?
Define good.
Did you pass exams?
Yeah, I passed. I had this really awkward situation where I had to open my results I was getting interviewed.
Where?
Like my GCSEs. Oh. They were interviewing me for the newspaper.
They
were like interviewing everybody.
One where you open
them up and then you react. And like, I think like my sister got loads of A's and A stars, and so there's a lot of pressure for me to do that. But I have this condition that means I can only revise for my exams like 3 days before the exam.
That's called normality.
ADHD. Oh. Sure, normal. Yeah. And I struggled to revise so much. Anyways, I did not get bad grades at all. I got like mostly B's and then like some A's, some A stars. Yeah. But I was so upset when I opened them because I had like all this pressure on me. And they were like asking me loads of questions. They were like, what do you want to do after this? And I was like, I don't know. They were like, where are you going to college now? And I was like, I don't know. I just like completely like blanked everything. And I was like, my life is over. So I don't know anything anymore. And then like when they published it, it was like, this person's going to go off to Loretto College and study like further maths and triple science. And Eliza doesn't know what she's going to do and doesn't know where she's going to be studying and doesn't know. And I was like, you should have just left that out, couldn't you?
You went to a really mainstream drama school.
I went to, but I was doing costume.
Yeah, but still.
Sure.
Where did you go?
Central School of Speech and Drama.
Which is in Hampstead, opposite the Hampstead Theatre.
Some people would say it's one of the top drama schools.
It is one of the top drama schools. Well, it is one of the top drama schools.
Some people would say that.
So you went to one of the top drama schools.
Yeah, but it's not hard to get in on the theatre practice. They're actually begging. They're sending out emails like 2 weeks before the course starts. Like, is anyone free to do a 3-year BA in scenic painting? Yes. And then they'll get like 3 students that year.
Your false modesty is...
No, because they need that to fund the acting courses. It's the same way. Oh my God, I should not be slamming this school down right now. Well, it's a good school.
So what did you study at Central?
I did costume construction.
So that involved no acting? There's no acting as part of that course?
No, I don't have any formal acting training or performance training. Okay. Awkward.
No, not awkward at all. So you were heading towards a career in designing costumes? I worked in costume for theatre for like 2 years after graduating. Tell me what that involves.
You can work, there's so many different jobs you can have in the costume industry. But I was working mainly, what I did was costume supervision. So I worked with designers basically to realize their designs. So they would give me the designs and then I would either make stuff, go out and source stuff. A lot of the jobs that I did had like a wardrobe department. So I'd go into a wardrobe department, pull like a rail of clothes for each single design. You know, I'd have to check the measurements, make sure they match up to the actor's measurements. Some things would be like, this might fit, might be able to adjust this or whatever. And then I'd schedule fittings with the designer. The designer would like be like, okay, this is great, we've got this one, or like, I hate this and you're a piece of garbage. And then after that, I'd go out and buy stuff if we needed it, or I'd make stuff if we needed it. And we just keep doing that up until we have a few more fittings, and then until the week of the show, and then I'm doing adjustments in the theatre.
And is this for theatre or for TV or
theatre? Yeah. So I work in the theatre industry, but my other costume friends that still work in costume, like some of them work in film, some of them work like bigger jobs, like in big theatres. Shout out to the costume girls.
And you did opera as well, I saw. At Grange, or at least that was on your...
I was like, I've never done an opera. I actually did do that.
Yeah.
That was, it was fun, but it was crazy. It was like, they all go to like a random huge mansion in the middle of the countryside, and then everyone's there, and then you get fed free food. And then you're just there, staying there, and the whole festival happens there. And I was making costumes with whatever we had there. We'd done a lot of the work already, and I wasn't really doing like, I wouldn't really class what I was doing there as like a costume supervisor role. I was more like a wardrobe assistant. I was just doing alterations all the time.
Okay.
So,
and is this still part of your life?
Yeah, this is real. This happened to me.
No, but now?
Not really. I kind of like left that kind of like line of work, so I just didn't enjoy it. Like, it's not very creative. Because
you're not designing the costumes.
Exactly.
You're just realising someone else.
You're like a PA.
You're realising someone else is...
Exactly.
Well, you didn't want to design the costumes? Or?
So I have done a bit of costume design. I actually worked with...
So what you're wearing now, I presume that's your design, your look.
What do you mean? It's just a top. What do you mean?
It's a top for you, but it's a look for me. You know what I mean? It's like...
this?
You look sort of like a sort of a slightly eccentric Pierrot.
I got this at the car boot, and I've been waiting for a good opportunity to wear it, so I thought maybe today.
So you didn't get one, so you used it here, you mean?
Yeah. I thought it, now that I'm against the red, that's quite nice, isn't it? I'll finish my point, because I wanted to say, let me finish, Adam.
Sorry.
I worked with somebody that I did musical theatre with as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. We lost touch, but we were Instagram mutuals, and he reached out to me a couple of years ago being like, I've been seeing what you're doing online. Like, would you design this production of Hades and Persephone? He's now like a brilliant dancer and choreographer, Matthew Rawcliffe. And he is really, really brilliant. And I was like, I've never really designed anything. You sure you want that? And he was like, yeah, I want to do it. And then he got the funding, and we did like an immersive production of Hades and Persephone for people with PMLD, so people with profound multiple learning disabilities. So basically, like, a lot of the people were in wheelchairs, but they also had like other very complex, like autism or just other disability, basically overlapping. And so it was Hades and Persephone with dance, with puppetry, and we had this room, and we like kind of, the way that I designed it was kind of like a walkthrough of like, we're in the garden with Persephone and Demeter, and then we go through the river Styx. And then we go into the underworld, which was all in black and UV. And
this is really Greek civilization.
There we go. Well, that, Matthew just came to me with Hades and Persephone. I was like, love, let's go. But that was like the last like proper theatre job. This is like the last real well-paid job that I had. But like, I only think I'd do something like that again. I'm really not interested in supervision. I'm desperate though, so I'm kind of like showing it back in. But I just find it to be so mundane. But I do need the money.
Okay, then this brings us to Cabbage the Clown then. So how did that start?
My first week of uni, they have a queer cabaret at my uni in student bar. I thought like when I left musical theatre group, MMY, there would be like another kind of thing like that at my uni, like an extracurricular way to do performance because it's my hobby.
Yeah.
But there wasn't one. But then they have a queer cabaret, and I saw it my first week of being there, and there was like 5 drag kings in the show. I had never seen drag kings before because it's not really a thing. Like, it's not really like a mainstream known thing.
No.
There's no like media coverage. There's no mainstream
and it's
media
true
coverage.
because in the bit of the industry I'm in, drag queens are everywhere. I mean, everywhere.
Uh-huh.
But you're right, drag kings have no profile whatsoever.
Yeah, because they don't really put drag kings on TV.
Why?
Misogyny.
Okay.
Yeah. Patriarchy.
I'm not sure. I know there is a lot of patriarchy and I know there is a lot of misogyny, but whether that's the reason why there are no drag kings, I don't know enough about that to know.
Okay, there's a really big drag show that lots of people watch. Not many people with vaginas have been allowed to compete on that show.
Have any?
Less than 10, maybe 5. There's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of performers on there. Men or trans women or non-binary people. But like, it's hard like when you have to like crunch it down to like facts like that, statistics like that. But those like are the facts. I just wanted to throw that in the ring, like before you like say anything else.
No, well, let's come back to that because I part of this podcast with a number of performers has been quite political.
I saw that. I was worried about that.
About how the arts are pretty exclusive, both in terms of people who view it and the people who perform in it, because in order to be a professional actor or musician, the chances are you've had to have had enough money in order to...
Sure.
So, but let's go back to Cabbage. So you were doing your...
There I was in the gay night at the queer bar. No, it was the student bar, but it was the queer cabaret. And there was drag kings and I was like, I had dragged up as a man once at home for fun. Once. And there was one BuzzFeed video that had drag kings on it. That was like the kind of like only like drag king video that I'd ever seen. But even after watching that, I like didn't really understand how they could be like real in the same way as a drag queen. Anyways, I saw loads of drag kings that night. I was like, this is amazing. This is my dream. I want to perform as a drag king in the student union bar at the queer cabaret. And then COVID, did I do it before COVID or after? I think it was after the first round of COVID. So like my school shut down. But I was like kind of dragging up and stuff in COVID and stuff. But I started as a drag king. Milo High Club. So I started doing male impersonation. I did it in queer cabaret. And then during lockdown, my friend was doing clowning at their drama school. A lot of drama schools do clowning as their module. I didn't know anything about true clowning. And when I was hearing about it, I was like I was so fascinated by it because it was like so psychological and deep. Like the way that my friend was being taught, it was like take your biggest flaw or insecurity and elevate that, and that will, for a lot of people, that's how they find their clown. And so I was like thinking about what mine would be, and then it just was like sad clown. That's who it is. Like, because it was like very inspired by like me as a teenager. Like when I first started, like the original like character design I had for Cabbage was like just a parody of me as a 17-year-old, and like people would call me Cabbage because it was my Instagram username, and at my college people would call each other by their Instagram username, and mine was Teen Cabbage, and so people around school would call me Cabbage, but I was also like disliked because I was depressed.
Seriously depressed?
Oh my god, yes.
So then
you thought I was joking?
No, I didn't.
I was joking. I was happy.
So you took that as the heart of your...
Yes.
But aren't all clowns sad?
No.
Well,
I think
the sad clown is
it's a thing. It's a subgenre.
Yeah.
Like there's clowns that kind of like have all different styles of personalities.
Yeah, no, that's true.
The main kind of, when in theatrical clowning, like the main goal is to make the audience laugh.
So anyway, you developed this act.
Sure. In lockdown.
And you performed it for the first time.
It was online cabarets that I started performing in. So I made little short films, and then they were streamed as part of cabarets, which I loved because I love to make little films. I nearly did film. So I was enjoying doing that. And then when lockdown restrictions lifted, I started performing in cabaret spaces, and I did some drag competitions. I did a big competition called Lip Sync 1000, which was very like drag queen forward. And I was going to do it as Milo because he was more of a lip sync. This is my drag king persona. But at the time, it was more geared towards drag queens. And so I was like, oh, I'll do Cabbage because that's more like feminine drag. But like I hadn't really performed it on stage. And it was a crazy night. It was a crazy night, Adam.
In what way?
Well, 2 people are supposed to get through. And they only put me through because they said no one was as good as me. It's like awkward because I was on my first gig. I didn't know anybody. Everyone hated me.
You were lip syncing to song. What were you lip syncing?
It was a cover of Mamma Mia by Austin Weber. I don't know how to pronounce that. So it's kind of like a bit more of like a lower energy Mamma Mia. And it's kind of like a soul, like a lone voice. And my story was that I was a bride left at the altar and I was singing Mamma Mia at a karaoke bar. And then at the end of the act, I kind of like went to, like, I drove to their house and I like got down on my knees and like got flowers out and I was like, kind of like, take me back. And they like slammed the door in my face and it didn't work out. That was like my original Cabbage act. And I performed at the Clapham Grand. That was the final of the competition. So I performed for like less than 100 people in the heat. And then my second Cabbage gig was 700 people.
That was only just second gig?
Yeah. So it's like a crazy.
And so how long ago was that then?
I did that in 2021, I think.
So that then, did you at that point decide this is something?
Yes. Well, I already was like, drag feels like it makes a lot of sense for me now because I have so many different hobbies and interests. I'm spread thin between them all. I didn't really have a hub for any of that. Like, it was kind of like, I'm doing it bad. I'm doing all of these things really badly. But then the minute I decided I wanted to start doing drag, I was like, this just makes so much sense. I can funnel it all into this now, like my art or my craft. So
you can do everything within drag, costuming, performance, a bit of everything.
Yeah. I mean, not everything.
No, not everything. But as you say, it's a hub.
Yes. So I can do whatever, and then I'm like, that's just an extension of my drag, no matter what I want to do. So, for example, I want to start hula hooping.
You do it as Cabbage the Clown hula hooping?
I want to start, exactly, whatever I want to do. I want to start cooking. That's my art now. That's my art. No, but I was just like, I would love to maybe hoop sometime and use it in my shows.
So whereabouts do you perform now? What sort of gigs?
Everywhere. So I think there are some drag artists that kind of stay in their area. So like, you know, the kind of drag queens that would go on RuPaul's Drag Race, for example. Yeah. A lot of those we would call like the Soho queens. They mainly do bookings around like the Soho, like GAY, Heaven, these like big clubs. And then there's like the East London drag scene, which is like sloppy and messy. The drag competition, Top of the Slops.
I had, do you know Reese's Pieces?
Yes, Reese's.
I mean, he's from that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, as I was saying to him, I come from the corporate entertainment world, which is very, very different. Very,
crazy.
Very, very,
I would not have guessed that about you, Adam.
Yes, I know. I brush up well, or not, as the case may be. But
you're wearing your professional clothes today. But
these are my only clothes.
Fishnet bodysuit.
Yeah, you see me.
Yes, I have at the club.
For me, it's interesting. I come from a world where everything is about presentation and being perfect and being not messy at all, and being not using swear words and being just being slick and sort of professional.
Yeah.
Then you meet someone like Reese, who's obviously incredibly talented, very clever, and he performs in a completely different way. And it really opens your mind as to... and so going back personally, the trouble with entertainment is we all end up in the genre. We tend to get into the genres we're into. So I'm into musical theatre. I might be into opera. You might be into...
you and your bloody musical theatre.
No, but you know what I mean. Most people...
Yeah.
Just stay within what they like.
Yes.
Or sort of understand. They don't try and make themselves uncomfortable.
True.
Because most people don't want to be uncomfortable.
No.
I don't want to be uncomfortable. You want to be safe.
Yeah. So East London is kind of like where like Cabbage was really born, because I did Lip Sync 1000 at the Glory, which is now the Divine. I did Top of the Slops drag competition, which is an incredible competition that runs at Bethnal Green Working Men's Club now, but was at the Glory at the time. And that's like alternative drag kings, things, a lot of like AFAB performers, that's assigned female at birth, that do drag, whether they are a man, a woman, whatever, that like it really centers that and it gives a space for that, whereas there's not that many spaces across London, especially in Soho. They don't really book us. They just don't. Heaven don't book drag kings. They did a boy band. Oh my god, I'm slamming down Heaven now. The tea. Heaven did a boy band night and did not book a drag king. It was like all queens. It was like crazy. We were all like, if you're not going to book drag kings now, you never will. But it's just like a thing. But I kind of jump around all over the place. And especially now that I'm in like the comedy world and the clown world, there's like drag scene, comedy scene, clown scene. I'm like all over the place.
And all over the country, or is it mainly London?
Yeah, I've done some in Manchester. I did the Fringe, so I've done some bits in Scotland.
Was it Fringe you do your one-person show?
Yeah, it's a bit long.
It's hard, that, isn't it?
It's a bit expensive. It's a bit too much me on stage, I think. It's very expensive. I'm going again this year and I'm literally like, so, okay, let me just take a moment. If anybody wants to give me money
which
to
venue
the
are you
Fringe,
in? Which venue?
Underbelly.
Are you?
Yes. So I was in Underbelly last year. I'm doing it again this year. You seem surprised.
No, I'm not.
Oh!
No, only because
No,
I am slightly. No, I'm
that's
slightly surprised. Only as much as all the acts I've ever
Do
seen.
you know how many clowns they had last year? They had like 40 clown shows. It was amazing. We did a clown photo shoot on top of the hill. We all climbed up
but
the
not
hill.
Underbelly.
Yeah, Underbelly.
But they're supposed to have loads of venues, don't they? So
They got loads.
Loads and loads of venues.
Mm-hmm.
How important is this delineation between groups of people? Can't we argue, and I'm going to be slightly controversial here, that dividing people into groups...
What do you mean? Which groups? Like the Soho Queens and the... Or did you mean drag and comedy and clown?
No, I mean more than that. I mean...
What do you mean? You mean like binary gender? Like
no, not
man,
even that.
woman.
I just mean... I feel like everyone should be performing together somehow. Why should there be a lesbian scene and a gay scene and a hetero scene?
That's not what we wanted to happen.
No, but it shouldn't be that, should it? It should just be great. It should just be... And actually, the more heterosexual people have seen...
And lots of straight women like drag queen shows. But they don't see drag king shows.
But exactly. So I just think... It's going back to what I said. You end up just seeing the entertainment that you're given or you feel safe for.
The thing is about drag queens is because they're on TV, it creates a demand for it. So people want that. They want a very particular kind of entertainment. Do you know what I mean? And they seek that.
So I remember I went to, Edinburgh a couple of years ago, and I was watching a gay comedian, and he was saying that in the old days, being a gay comedian was like breaking the mold.
It's true.
Very different.
And
now being a gay comedian is like really boring because everyone's a gay comedian, and it's hardly break. So I've always thought what would be better is just as if everyone was more inclusive. So there weren't lesbian shows. There weren't gay shows. There were just shows.
You heard it
but maybe I'm being
folks.
naive. Maybe, I don't know. It's a way of showing your grouping, your tribe, I suppose.
Sure. I think, we want inclusivity, if that's what you're interested in. We don't choose to be in the faction. But this is what happens is there's different scenes in different parts of London, and you also a lot of drag king shows is a safe space for lesbians, or people like that. When I go to a top of the slop show, I know that the audience is going to be filled with a lot of like-minded individuals. People. And when I go to Heaven, I know that it's mostly just going to be cis gay men. It's not really my environment.
But then I wonder whether entertainment could be used to change people's views on things. So speaking, I had a Marxist magician in the other day.
Cool. I love magic.
His point was he used to go into factories when they're being taken over by the workers, and you do magic to them. And I said to him, this is all very well and good, but you're preaching to the converted.
It's true. You think that's what we're doing by mainly performing. But the thing is, okay, get this. So when I produce a show, the only people I can get to buy tickets are the people that want to be at the show.
No, I get that. And I know.
And also, when I want to perform my acts that's about Stone Butch Blues, the novel by Leslie Feinberg, that's about how trans men can be lesbians, who do you think is going to book that? Who do you think is going to pay to have me perform that? Not a straight person that wants me to perform it for a straight audience. And I have had many opportunities where I've been able to perform for different audiences, and I've been able to speak to those audiences afterwards, and some people go I don't understand how this is drag. I don't understand how because you're a woman. Firstly, I'm non-binary. Get it right. Secondly, that's part of the daily conversation that you have to have when you're not the kind of image of what people think of as a drag queen or a drag artist, is that people don't think women can do drag. People don't think women should do drag. People comment on my videos saying, this isn't drag, you'll never be a drag artist. That's the kind of, this is just what happens.
But that's why you need to have those conversations, don't you?
But this is what I do. I have the conversations in the bar. I
know you're right. There's the ideal world, and then there's the real world where you have to persuade the people who are actually willing to come. No, I understand that.
The only way that actual movement is going to be made to diversify the drag scene is when drag kings and things are on TV. That's the only time it's going to happen. Because there's this thing that happens where every year or two they release an article on some newspaper, and they're drag kings, kings, who knew? Drag kings are happening. And it's they've been around the same amount of time as drag queens. They were
But you see, drag queens a part, particularly in Britain, of our cultural heritage. So you go back, you look at pantomime dames even.
Yeah, sure.
You look at Daniel LaRue, you look at the history.
Yeah. But do you not think that like in the underground queer bars, there weren't like lesbians dragging up as men
I'm sure they
on
have.
stage lip syncing like with the queens?
No, I'm sure so.
It's been erased. Like people don't associate that with like the history of a drag queen and like how far that goes back. People think like it's like a new thing. It's not. So drag kings on TV. Let's make it happen. 2020
6, 7, 8.
soon coming to a decade near you. Drag kings.
So what you're dealing with is actually something quite very important. So you're talking about identity, you're talking about gender, you're talking about all those issues which are really important at the moment. You're talking about inclusivity
and male toxicity. In the drag kings performances. Parody of toxic male caricature.
Of course, most people would think drag queens are very inclusive, a sort of...
That's one thing that I love to say, actually, is that like a lot of people think like the drag scene is really woke, but it's actually really like full of patriarchy and misogyny.
So that's quite
lots of drag queens are very misogynistic in their portrayal of female. Like they'll kind of like... there's a lot of drag queens in the scene I particularly struggle with because they'll put on a wig and like a breastplate and they'll be
Isn't there a drama there somewhere?
There's a huge drama.
There's a mainstream drama there.
Oh, you think on TV?
On TV.
No, because
that is interesting. The perception.
I agree.
And how those figures that you see at the cutting edge of...
That you think is really extreme and like radical, like left.
But actually
they're upholding the same patriarchy that there is in like an office setting.
Can you envisage, say, Trump actually being a drag queen impersonator at some point of an evening?
I'm sorry, I'm just full of rage now. Could I imagine it?
Let's not
I could imagine it for like fun. Like let's imagine Trump like... Oh, he's wearing his fishnet bodysuit. He borrowed it off you from your wardrobe. He's got his blonde, long hair on.
Yes,
and we're all throwing tomatoes at him. And we have pitchforks. And he's getting booed. And he's bombing. Nobody's enjoying it. Everyone's like, bah! Like, Katie Hopkins went to a bar in East London recently. This video is going around. And they're all like just booing her out of the door. Oh, God, I wish I was there.
That's you as...
So this is me as a baby. So this was like probably like 1-2 years old. This was like probably not long after I was born.
So this is not Cabbage?
Yeah, it's Cabbage.
It is Cabbage?
Yeah.
And where is that?
That was a venue I performed at one time.
In London, though?
Yeah, it was in London. It was in London, but it was like a one-off. It wasn't like a venue that I do very often.
Let's look at I like that one in the bottom left-hand corner with the drink. What's that going on there?
Oh, so that's my Sucky Cup act that I did. I had such a crazy gig recently.
I like that.
Okay, so I do this act in my solo show, which is called Cinema Drome. It's about working in cinema. It's about basically lots of artists have to work like front of house jobs to be able to afford to be able to do that art.
So I wrote a monologue recently about the ice cream woman.
Oh.
So she comes up onto
feminism.
She comes up onto stage after the interval and does a monologue, basically saying exactly that.
I love her. I really love her. Seriously. Somebody said to me, obviously not exactly the same. Somebody said to me days ago, like, I should get an ice cream truck. And I was like, I've never wanted to drive my whole life. And in that moment, I was literally like, no, because I actually see that for myself. Like I do.
So tell me about that.
Okay, so in the show, it's done in the style of cabaret. So it's like I'm trying to get through this really long mundane shift at my cinema job.
Yeah.
And I'm very bored. And every time that the intercom asks me to go and do something, I'll go and start to do the task, but then I get distracted and I go into like my dream sequence of a performance. So the Sucky Cup act is basically they asked me to go put on like a mascot costume to promote the extra large reusable Sucky Cup. But when I come out, I'm like a New Yorker girl who is like used and discarded,
And who's the
I don't know their name, but they're actually, when I performed this act, it was at Hot and Freddie. They're like a pop duo and they asked me to open for them at Bush Hall.
Wow.
And it was a crazy gig because like I've never opened for music. Like everyone there was there for music and I come out dropping my bin bags and my sweep and like falling over for like 5 minutes. And this person like I think they're like a new drag artist, but unfortunately I don't remember their name. But they really got into character with me, which is always so fun. Like when you get audience member up on stage and they want to play with you and they want to do the story.
Yes, that's a good picture there.
Yeah, it's a really good picture. So, but basically, yeah, like the Sucky Cup act is a bit about like being used and discarded as like a lot of women feel like they can be used as objects by men, but also it's about how like at the cinema when I used to work there, people would buy the reusable Sucky Cup and leave it in the cinema to get thrown away, and we'd have to throw it away when we were cleaning up cinema. And so her whole character is about the fact that she's really sturdy and she wants to go steady. She wants to go home with someone, and like that's her purpose in life. And she's been like discarded, and so it's a really fun act. I sing.
And do you still do that?
Yeah, I do it all the time. But it needs. I'm not gonna lie to you. It needs a bit of repairs. Like. The costume needs
the costume. So you made the costume.
I made the costume. I did. My friend Eleanor, who I went to uni with, worked for a mascot making company, and she showed me how to carve foam to make the slushy topper, and then I made everything else out of fabric.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a really fun act. But yeah, I get the audience up to suck my straw. There was this one time, I don't know if I should talk about this on a public forum, but there was this one time I was performing it, and my flatmate, I was doing a competition. My flatmate was playing the track for me. She's seen the act loads. And when I do it in my show, the projection says come up and suck my straw. But when I do it in a gig setting, I let the straw come out and then I just like look at it and I look at the audience and they will figure it out. And the longer it goes on, the kind of funnier it is. Anyways, when she was there, she didn't realize that like I do that. So like really soon after, she was like, somebody suck the straw! And then this man jumped up off like the second row. He like clambered over the front row and he went to suck my straw, and like the audience were really horrified. And I was like, what's happening? And then the big saliva dropped by my foot. And I was like, this is terrible. And then when I got off stage, there was a big wet patch on the costume. And somebody asked me, how did you get the water feature into the costume? And I was like, I need professional help. So I should really incinerate the whole thing and start fresh. That's what's on my mind. But yeah, I love that act.
Anyway, lovely to see you. And hope you have a good rest of your day. And
high five.
High five. And thank you all for watching this episode of the Variety Show Podcast.
Thanks for coming to the Variety Show Podcast. Thanks for coming to my podcast. It's been really great. Thanks, Adam, for coming in. We had fun. Like and subscribe.
Exactly.
To the Instagram.
At the Variety Show Podcast on all our social media channels. And thank you very much.